What's up, everybody? It's your boy Charles Arnaz. Charles Arnaz. Where think you like? Wait, let me stop it. Anyway, y'all, this is Charles Arnaz. Charles Arnaz. Where I think you guys were watching. We are checking out um, Prodigy's book, My Infamous Life, from the infamous Mobb Deep Prodigy, who passed away some years ago. Rest in peace to Prodigy. We're gonna go ahead and get into it, guys. Hit the thumbs up button.
Popular than ever with his companies, Violator Management and Violator Records. When other rappers found out that Chris was our manager, they wanted Chris to manage them too. His roster was growing, and in order to handle that, he was going to need some help. Chris's brothers were also in the music industry. His older brother, Dave Lighty, worked at Jive Records. His younger brother, Mike Lighty, had a booking agency, and his youngest brother, Jonathan, started helping us book studio sessions and contacting outside producers and guest features for Murder Music. One night, Jonathan, Havoc, Gotti, Noid, and I were in the studio tossing around ideas about who should be featured on the album. Jonathan came up with the idea of getting somebody from the South so that we could bridge the gap, and Havoc suggested that we get 8 Ball from the Memphis rap group 8 Ball and MJG.
Oh wow!
Chris hooked it up, and we flew to Houston, Texas to Swisher House Studios. 8 Ball was standing at a table cutting up weed with a pair of scissors next to Bun B from UGK.
Oh,
Man,
wow.
y'all niggas don't even know. Me and my niggas love Mobb Deep, Bun B said. Y'all got them burnt biscuits, nigga. That's that ice pick shit. 8 Ball rolled up some of his weed in a Swisher Sweet. As thick clouds of strong smoke filled the studio, we listened to some Swisher House beats and found one that we all liked and knocked out the song Where You From, featuring 8 Ball, in about 2 hours. Afterwards, we went to the hotel to get some rest for the morning flight back to New York. Back home, I started coming up with more and more ideas for my solo career. Since Havoc and I weren't seeing eye to eye with something as serious as our house,
How did I miss that song? I didn't know that 8 Ball and MJG did a song with Mobb Deep. Hit that thumbs up button, guys.
I had to plan for my and my kids' future. I'm always Mobb Deep to the death. But I decided to invest all my time and energy into my solo album, shoot my movie, and start a clothing company because the future was looking unpredictable. I needed to have my own career going in case things didn't work out between us. Before Sean John, Rockaware, and all the other rapper-branded clothing existed, my inspiration came from Wu-Tang's Wu-Wear and Russell Simmons' Fat Farm. Watching how RZA and his crew raped the corporate world, I admire Wu-Tang's business savvy. They made over $11 million from Wu-Wear within a couple of years, so I quickly came up with a concept for a brand called Infamous. I had Infamous t-shirts printed and wore them in photo shoots so Loud's art department would add the photos inside Murder Music to start promoting the brand. One of the art dudes at Loud had friends in the fashion industry who put together a 4-season lookbook, like a demo for the clothing line to present to possible buyers and backers, and had a few samples made. I met with several investors and backers, but none of them saw my vision. Fuck it.
Wow.
If you want something done right, you know the rest.
Still.
My man DJ Hot Day from Queensbridge had a record store on 147th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue, right near where Havoc and I used to live. I had connections in that hood, so instead of waiting for some investor to pick my brand up, I opened up my own store in Harlem, Infamous, on 132nd Street and 8th Avenue. I wanted to open up in Queens, but it was $10,000 a month for a small spot on Jamaica Avenue, while a way bigger spot in Harlem was only $2,000. I was moving too fast, but you have to move on ideas fast, so I got my first storefront. Dave Mays and Benzino ran ads in the Source to promote the clothing brand in store. After my first Infamous ads, all of a sudden, Rockaware, Sean John, Outcast Clothing, Fat Joe's FJ560, and others began to emerge.
Well, I can remember that everybody had those. It was late '90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s. Everybody had a
I
clothing
was
line.
pissed, because in this business, it's all about who does it big first, or at least
Mm-hmm.
second. If you do it third or fourth, then it's called dig riding and biting.
Hmm.
But after 1999, all the rules of the game went out the window, and
That's right.
everybody was copying off of everybody.
Everybody, nobody
It
original.
wasn't about who did it first anymore. It was
Mm-hmm.
about who did it best.
Wow.
I put $20,000 into building the store, which was a gutted out, empty storefront when I moved in. The Tats crew painted a mural of all 5 New York City boroughs on the ceiling.
Mm.
Everything was on fire, and it looked like the apocalypse. I had a hookup at Home Depot and put in stone floors and gates with barbed wire so it looked like prison in there. On the store awning,
Why?
our dragon logo lit up at night. My man Keith owned a women's clothing boutique next door to my spot. A week before our huge grand opening block party that he helped me put together at the park up the street, some people tried robbing Keith's store while he was opening up.
Damn.
Keith popped one of them and killed the other. I was
Mm.
glad he did that because it let other would-be robbers know not to fuck around on our block. He wasn't charged because he had a legal firearm to protect his business. Busta Rhymes came to the block party. My brother Greg came from New Jersey to help run the opening and brought his daughter Kenesha and son Kenny. No
Mm.
more than 10 minutes after my brother, niece, and nephew arrived, a kid passing by on a pedal dirt bike shot a man in front of us. After
What?
shooting the victim, he got off the bike, picked up the gun shell, hopped back on the bike, and rode off slowly like nothing happened. The day wasn't off to a good start.
Damn.
Queensbridge
What in
came
the
deep,
hell?
and the whole hood bought at least one infamous shirt. We walked to the park and chilled for about an hour. Sadat X from Brand Nubian was there, and everybody was having a good time until some Harlem dudes started beefing with my Queensbridge niggas, and Queensbridge shut the park down. Those Harlem boys got their asses whooped in their own part of town. We walked back to the store to let things cool off. I locked up and told my brother and Kiki it was best that they left. I didn't want them around and somebody tried to shoot at us. Before they left,
Jesus.
Kiki and I snapped a picture in front of the park. She's holding our son Shaka leaning up against the car I bought her. We hung out at the park all night just to prove a point. We're not scared. On grand opening day, I started thinking about putting my money elsewhere. I was already overspending to run that business. I needed all the money I had to shoot my movie. So I made a
Mm-hmm.
quick decision and chose the film over the store. I shut the store down a month after the block party, and some dude
Wow.
bought it and turned it into a weed spot. They kept the dragon up over the door. My crib in Brooklyn started getting hot right before we released Murder Music. White
Mm.
Lines was playing in the clubs and on the airwaves more than any of our past songs, and the whole neighborhood knew that Prodigy from Mobb Deep lived there. One summer night, a bunch of kids and teenagers rang my bell, screaming up at my window for me to come outside and battle them. It was time to move. I was the only one on that block with a buggy out Benz, Lexus GS 300, and Infiniti J30, so I had the spotlight on me.
Mm.
Coming home from the studio at 4 a.m., I'd walk up to my apartment with my gun in my hand inside my pocket and finger on the trigger. That part of Bushwick wasn't particularly active with gun violence, but I was always ready. When
Mm.
Kiki and I took our son to the movies, the park, a restaurant, or shopping, I always had the 9mm Ruger in the baby bag, under the stroller, or on my hip.
Jesus
Instead of
Christ.
waiting for trouble to happen, Kiki and I started looking for a new crib. Meanwhile, at the mini mansion in Long Island, Papa Mobb was hungry one afternoon. Scrounged $2 in dimes and nickels lying around the house, and walked 6 blocks to the Chinese spot. He got back to the crib and had eaten 2 of his 3 chicken wings. Then Bolo rang on the doorbell. Papa
Hmm.
Mobb let him in, then ran upstairs to use the bathroom. Bolo ate Papa Mobb's last chicken wing. I was hungry, man, Bolo said defensively when Papa Mobb flipped out. Papa was just as tired of Bolo as I was.
Hmm.
He got his gun, went into the living room, and shot Bolo in the leg, just like I
What?
wanted to do. Bleeding like a pig, Bolo called the police and told on Papa. Well, Papa got off in the end. I wanted to hug and kiss Papa Mobb. I was so glad he shot that bitch ass nigga. During radio interviews, they bring up that situation. So, I hear people getting shot at your house over a piece of chicken. Mobb Deep hungry, huh? At around 10 p.m. on March 18th, 1999, Kiki, Shaka, and I were in our Brooklyn apartment watching TV. Kiki went into the bathroom and came out all frantic, telling me her water broke while she was on the toilet. In the delivery room at St. John's Hospital, the doctor said she wasn't ready to give birth yet, but the baby could come out at any time. I stayed with her for a couple hours, then walked to White Castle to get some fish sandwiches, onion rings, and apple pies. I love White Castle apple pies, and ate like 4 back to back. Kiki kept asking for some onion rings. The doctor said she couldn't eat anything, but she demanded that I give her some. At 3:03 a.m. on March 19th, 1999, my daughter Fatasia was born. Watching my second child's birth was just as amazing as the first. I followed the doctors again, paranoid about them injecting my baby girl with those suspicious vaccines. Tasia looked like a little old Jewish lady when she was born, all wrinkled up and tiny. But I was excited to have a daughter. Around that time, Twin kept bugging me about this rap duo from Queensbridge named Balls and Hooks. You need to sign these kids to a deal. They've got talent, Twin said. I finally got tired of him harassing me, so we found them, and they started rapping for me outside on the block in QB. I couldn't front. They was hot. The front man of the duo, Mike DeLorean, a.k.a. Hooks, was from Hav's block and famous in the hood because his parents were both heavy into the drug game and
Oh
had close
wow.
ties to the Queens gang, the Supreme Team.
Mm.
DeLorean always had the best new clothes, mopeds, and motorcycles. DeLorean was also famous in the hood for this verse he spit on Cormega's song dissing Nas.
Mm.
Nas started a group called The Firm with Foxy Brown, Cormega, Nature, and himself. When it came time to promote the group, Nas didn't tell Mega about the important photo shoots, including
Mm.
magazine covers. Mega was furious after that. Then
Wow.
Nas kicked Mega out the group.
Mm.
Mega was on a fuck Nas mission ever since. Mega and Mike DeLorean killed Nas on a popular mixtape freestyle.
I was gonna say.
So I knew DeLorean was nice with rap.
I was gonna say, damn, but not literally, I guess. Shit, my bad, y'all. Hit the thumbs up button.
Mr. Bars, DeLorean's rap partner, had some sick punchlines too. They reminded me of a younger version of Mobb Deep. I signed them to Infamous Records right away. Bars and Hook said they were getting threats from guys at Lynchman Entertainment, a record company they had signed a deal with before signing with me. DeLorean explained to me that when Lynchman found out that Bars and Hook signed with me, they tried to intimidate him and Bars by claiming that they were responsible for getting Tupac shot at Quad Studios. And if
What?
Bars and Hooks didn't want that to happen to them, then they had to pay back whatever money Lynchman had spent on them or dead the Infamous deal.
Mm.
They later denied any involvements in Tupac's shooting. To
Mm.
resolve this situation, I set up a meeting with Lynchman for Friday of that week. Havoc and I recorded the entire Murder Music album at Soundtrack Studios on 21st Street in Broadway. The session started at noon and usually ended around 5 a.m. Along with Murder Music, I was grinding on HNIC, my movie soundtrack, and revisions of my movie script. Early one afternoon, Mike DeLorean came by the studio with his uncle Green Eyes, who just came home from doing 15 years for a robbery he claimed he didn't even do.
Damn. Anyway, y'all, this is Prodigy's book, My Infamous Life. We're gonna come back with more, but so far it's pretty good. That's crazy how the dude shot the dude over his chicken wings, But some dudes can be irritable. I can tell that this guy Bolo, because on the other part of the book, Prodigy talked about how he almost shot him, and that's why he ended up moving out the mansion house, because mostly all of them were staying in this big mansion, but Prodigy and his girl was staying there, but they couldn't stay there anymore because they had a homie staying there, and it was just getting too hectic. And they had this one cat named Bolo that was just like, I guess Project didn't really like, but he was friends of habit. But he's always was irritated by him, and I guess other dudes were irritated by him too, because homeboy shot him over his chicken wings. Anyway, that's funny. Anyway, what do y'all think, man? Leave your comments. Check out the book. It's on Audible, guys, and subscribe to Charles and World. Y'all take care.